All right. Sweet. What's up, guys?
Can you hear me, Jeremy?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay,
So, okay,
cool.
so we haven't gone live yet. I'm about to go live, but I can hear you now.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm
I
I'm going
can't
live
I
right
can't
now.
see you though.
Yeah, let's try to go live, but I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay.
All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Will you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, and then we'll test Zoe's audio as well. Thumbs up if you can hear Jeremy. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's take a look. It's a little delayed for me. Okay, perfect. And then Zoe, will you test your audio?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Thumbs up if you can hear Zoe. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
I'm still not seeing your face, Jeremy, but it's
You don't
it's
need to
fine,
see
I guess.
mine. You don't need to see mine. Can you see yourself?
I can see myself now. Yeah, I had to click
Okay.
on the settings, but
Okay.
yeah, it's fine.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing me, but looks
I
like
also
everyone's
can't see
giving.
anyone's comments, but I assume you'll be the one to kind of
Yes.
monitor the chat.
Yes, I will be monitoring that. And looks like we've got people coming in. Looks like everyone can hear us. Now I can't hear you. Something happened.
Oh, can you hear me?
Now I can. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. As long as you don't touch
Cool.
anything, we're good.
I'm not touching anything, don't worry.
Okay. Well, guys, welcome in. Whether you're coming from YouTube or Instagram, this is pretty cool. Live stream with the infamous Zoe here at Uncommon Education. Very happy to have her here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I'm just watching on my screen, so I'm not gonna look because it's like delayed. Like I see you like speaking and then I
Uh-huh.
can't hear you and then it comes through. So we're just gonna have a conversation and people can see us and
Okay.
yeah, we'll just go from there. Well, guys,
Sounds good.
like I say, welcome in. We had a live this morning going over trading discipline, which was really cool to see. Instant feedback, right? That was free game for everyone. A lot of people in our community went out, had a fantastic day in the market. Pretty cool to see. But now we've got a very special guest, someone who has gone through our mastermind program, is now someone who helps actually on some of the back end stuff here on Common Education and is successful in so many cool ways and highlights a demographic of traders that are really starting to gain traction, I feel like, in the trading community. People who are, in my opinion, set up perfectly to succeed as day traders. So just a little bit about Zoe, and then I'll have her introduce herself. So she is here with us. She grew her small account of $2,500. She nearly doubled it, just shy of doubling it in 1 month, which is very cool because it's very realistic, right? A lot of people are out there telling you can make tons of money day trading. We're here to tell you, yes, you can do that, but you can also find success with even, a normal small size account, such as a $2,500 account. So we're going to go through a few things with Zoe today. We'll open it up for a Q&A for you guys once we kind of wrap up a few questions here. But yeah, Zoe, why don't you tell us a little bit about what got you, like how you found out about Uncommon Education, where you're living right now, what you do occupation wise or throughout each day. Just kind of give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, I'm Zoe. I feel like I'm like most people here. I actually found out about Uncommon through Carol. So most of you know who Carol is. She's amazing. She's one of my closest friends, and she's been, working with the company forever. And so I heard about Uncommon like right when you guys like started, and I just knew nothing about it though. Like I knew nothing about stock options, the stock market, like nothing. And so she would tell me about it and I was like, that's cool, like good for you, but I don't know, it's not my cup of tea. And so she kind of introduced me to it, and yeah, I just, she would share with me like all these what these members are making, and eventually I just got curious enough that I joined. And yeah, so I've been loving the community. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I have 3 kids, and my family just recently moved overseas. So we moved from California to Oxford because my husband's doing a PhD. So yeah, just I've loved trading because it's something I can take anywhere in the world and kind of just fit it into my lifestyle. So yeah, it's just a little bit about me.
That's fantastic. So, okay, tell us a little bit about trading in Oxford. It's got to be a little different. What
Yeah.
time does the stock market open where you're at right now?
Yeah, it's weird. It starts at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So it's like it's nice, but like because I'm like wide awake, I don't have to worry about like waking up early, but I only have like the first 30 minutes to trade because I have to leave at 3 o'clock to go pick up my kids from school. And then usually like at the end of the day, the market closes at like 9 p.m. for me, so I can usually trade the last hour or so. But yeah, it's different than it was in the States.
So for everyone listening, I just want to make sure we establish. So, last month or the month you doubled your $2,500 account, that was only being able to trade those first 30 minutes of the market being open before you had to
Yeah.
go pick up your kids.
Yeah. Pretty
Okay.
much. There was,
So,
like, maybe, like, 4 or 5 trades that I took on the last hour, but, like, the majority of my trades were within that first 30 minutes.
which is pretty remarkable. And I think a lot of people don't understand that about options trading is, people always ask me my thoughts on like the overall market sentiment, what I think's going to happen. And it's funny,
Mhm.
I have no idea because I don't watch the charts after that first hour, right? I trade that
Mhm.
first hour, then I'm done. And so I think a lot of people, have that misconception. And it's really cool to see that someone who obviously, how many kids do you have, Zoe? For those
I
who
have
don't know.
3.
Okay, so Zoe has 3 kids. And how old are you, Zoe?
I'm 29.
Okay, so 29 years old, 3 kids, that's busy. I have 2 kids under 5, and it's craziness. And so
It's
3
nuts, yeah.
kids is just wild, right? And she's still able to successfully trade and, double her account in 30 minutes of trading a day, which to me just shows how accessible this skill set is. So tell us a little bit about your kind of journey learning it. So, what program through Uncommon did you take? Was it like the membership? Was it the mastermind? How did you enjoy learning? And was there things that like stuck out to you about the learning process? And then kind of tell us after you learned if it went really well right off the bat, if it didn't go well, if you went through a learning phase, just kind of tell us what that process was like up to the point where right after, your training or the course you went through, how things were going.
Yeah, yeah. So I started out as just, like, a monthly member, like most people would. So, like, yeah, back in this was, like, over a year ago now, you used to have the monthly membership, and so I was just a monthly member, just kinda, like, learning it on my own. And then after a few months, I joined the mastermind, and that was just like I liked the monthly membership, but I knew nothing about the stock market, and so I'm like the type of person I want to like talk with someone. I want to like I need to visually like see this to learn this and understand it, and it felt like just so foreign to me and like such a foreign language that I was like I need like the mentorship, and so the mastermind really appealed to me. And yeah, once I took it, it was just like everything just like started to click. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like now I understand these strategies because he's showing it in real time. He's pointing out these strategies in real time." So that was like my favorite thing was like being able to see like in real time watching it happen because like just like trying to figure it out on your own, it's just like I mean, you could if you had more experience, but like just in the place that I was at, like I just did not know what the stock market was. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So yeah, it was a huge difference being able to, like, watch you explain how it happens live, so that was really cool. Um, and yeah, so I would say that I definitely went through a learning curve. I think most people should expect to go through a learning curve. It would be weird if you didn't.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like it's mainly like the discipline, and the emotional aspect of trading, the psychology of trading that I think everyone kind of struggles with that at some point. And I was just like, oh, that won't affect me at all. Like I'll be fine. Like Jeremy says, be patient. I'm a patient person. Like I can do this. But yeah, I just remember like the first time. like when I had like my first winning trade, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. This is so easy. I'm gonna be like so rich. Like this is awesome. And then like the first time I had a losing trade, I was just like, I don't know what happened to me, but I like got into this like, the whole revenge trading. I honestly think it was ridiculous, Jeremy. I think it was like 16 trades that I took after that. And this is with like small amounts of money. And afterwards I was just like, I think I was down like $100 or something. And I was just like, okay, like this isn't something you mess around with. Like this is something you have to like actually take seriously. And so like there's a learning curve to it, right? And so yeah, so I would say, like there's a little bit of that, like just learning, little things like, oh, okay, definitely that's why Jeremy says don't take more than 3 trades a day. And oh, that's why Jeremy says don't revenge trade.
And let's
It's
pause
almost
right there because I think this is
yeah.
so important to point out, and so many people have gone through this, right? If you're on this live, you don't have to raise your hand, but how many of you have had a losing trade and immediately exited the trade and entered back into the same trade, hoping it would work and it didn't work, or you switch position, then it goes the other way, right? It's
Hmm.
such a common mistake. And again, like I know Zoe now, and I've gotten to know her over the last couple of months, especially, and she's a patient person. She's very level headed, and hearing that, it's hilarious, right? Like it is
It
just
is. It's like, what is happening to my brain? Like,
exactly. It's like your brain, and I kind of always compare it to that movie Inside Out. I've got kids, and
yeah.
so it just like is relative, but like yeah, or it makes sense, but it's just like it's like that red emotion, right? Just like he takes over, and like
Hmm.
next thing you know, you're like snap out, you're like, what just happened? And you look and you're like, what the
Yeah.
heck? 16 trades? Like what in the world just happened? So
Yeah.
I just want to point out, right, that here's a prime example, guys, that it's not gonna click in the moment, right? Like she went through the
Hmm.
mastermind. It's not cheap to take our mastermind program, right?
Hmm.
And when she got through it, she was still making ridiculous mistakes that everyone makes, right? These are the most common mistakes that we have as day traders, right? Is that kind of mental lapse of judgment. But what's
Hmm.
so cool, and if you followed any of our other Instagram lives, guys, is that everyone goes through that. It's just sticking with it for not that long, right? And we'll talk about that with Zoe here in a
Hmm.
second, but sticking with it and acknowledging those mistakes. Cause it'd be really easy for Zoe to be like, yeah, I know, and I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm going to just keep trying to kind of do my thing. But no, she acknowledges it. She
Hmm.
immediately says, wow, I have to respect the market. It will
Hmm.
take me out if I'm not careful. So now let's talk about, okay, so mastermind's over. You're kind of struggling just like everyone does as a day trader. At what point did you start to see some consistency to the point where you were like, wow, like this is starting to work. Like I'm actually starting to
Yeah.
see consistent success. Like what or when did that start happening, and what were like maybe two of the key elements that helped you get there?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say because I feel like I'm still learning, Like I feel like you're continually learning with this skill. But yeah, I think like once I got over like just like the really stupid mistakes over and over again that I would make, I feel like the biggest thing was so I'm just like I'm a really hardworking person. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and so having 3 kids at home, I've always like tried like side businesses and stuff to make money from home, and so I'm used to the kind of like work life where I'm like hustling. I'm like
Yeah.
okay, like my kids are eating lunch, I have 30 minutes to work on this. Or like, okay, they're taking a nap, I have like 20 minutes here. You know what I mean? Like I would just kind of like jump in and out of like mom mode, work mode all the time. Like that's what I would do. And so that was something that I would do that with trading in the beginning where it was like, okay, like I'm gonna trade while I make breakfast, or like I'm gonna like
Yeah.
trade, like while my kids are doing this. And it was just like I learned really quickly, like you can't do that. Like you have to really like prepare for the market. You have to have a plan, at least for me, right? Like I'm not the type of person who can trade at the airport. Like I just can't. Like I have to
Yeah.
be in the zone. I have to be focused. And so that was like the biggest thing for me was like, okay, I have a schedule. Like every single day from 2:30 to 3, that's when I trade. So the hour before, I'm doing my pre-market prep. And then at the end of the day, if I have time that last hour, I will do it. But like I have a whole checklist that I go through before I enter trades. And like before I even sit down to like look at the charts, it's like this, I think it was something you put maybe in the mastermind or on Discord or something. It was like this internal audit that you go through. And so I like added my own things to that too. And so I like go through like my own internal audit. I have like affirmations that I tell myself and just like remind myself of all these rules. And that made a huge difference for me, was just like having a routine and like actually preparing to like start
Yeah.
trading. So that was like one big thing. And then I would say the other, like the most important thing after that would be tracking my trades. So after
Mhm.
every single trade, I use the GP tracker. And so I'll go in and I'll put in my trades and I'll just like analyze what happened after every single trade. It's like, okay, that was a losing trade. What happened? And just like super level headed, right? Instead of just like immediately jumping back in and be like, oh, like I'm going to get my money back. But instead it was like, okay, I'm going to just take a step back. Let's review that and see what happened. And then, and kind of like make a plan moving forward. So those were like kind of the two biggest things for me, was like having a routine and then like tracking my trades.
And I love that. And I think what's great about the whole tracking your trades thing and even the routine, guys, is everyone that you meet or will get to talk to on these Instagram lives or these YouTube lives that we do, the only thing that they are doing better than those who aren't succeeding is the little things. I hate to say it, and it's just the truth. Like, they are better at doing the little things than you are, right? And that comes down to, yes, making sure that she's not distracted while she's trading, right? Analyzing, tracking her trades, and then finding out why maybe the trade didn't work out how it was supposed to, right? And being
Mhm.
unbiased and essentially just being humble about it. Like, yeah, it didn't work.
Mhm.
Okay, so why didn't it? And learning from that, right? Tracking
Yeah.
the trades and getting the data as far as what strategies work best, what don't. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering, right, like someone just commented, yeah, I have a really consistent week, and then the next week I'm terrible. I'd
Mhm.
I'd ask you to take that internal audit, right? Everyone who's listening, and say, okay, how good am I at keeping my position size the same on every trade I take? How good am I at waiting for the correct entry confirmation before entering? How good am I at either waiting for my take profit or stop loss before exiting? And then how good am
Mhm.
I at journaling each trade that I take? And you can rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and most people are probably a 2 or 3 across the board. Those who are the best at this, they're 7, 8, 9 out of 10 right across the board as far as their effectiveness doing it. It really is simple, and I say this all the time. It's the hardest way to learn how to make the easiest money of all time. And we'll now kind of parlay that into
Yeah.
a question. And one question I also wanted to ask you, Zoe, for those listening, maybe who are familiar with UET and the strategies we use,
Mhm.
let's hear number one, what your favorite strategy is here at UET. And then number two, what your biggest day in the market has been so far, dollar wise.
Yeah, my favorite strategy is first candle for sure. That's just because, I only have that 30 minutes. And so for those of you who don't know what the first candle strategy is, it's just trading in the first 5 minutes that the market's open. So yeah, that learning that was like my favorite. I like almost all the other strategies, honestly. I just don't really like the bounce reject. I always see it wrong. But besides that, like I like the other ones.
Awesome.
Um, and then yeah, my biggest day dollar wise, I think was like $1,100. So again, I'm trading with small amounts of money, but yeah, it was a big day for me.
So cool. That's amazing. So $1,100 biggest day with a small account, guys. That's
Hmm.
remarkable. First candle strategy again. It's we trade in the first 5 minutes. We have incredible parameters set with that. We know, right? And anyone who knows about the first candle strategy is we're looking for a 50% win rate. So since the time where you've been seeing, consistent success profitability over the last couple of months, Zoe, what would you
Hmm.
say your win rate has been over the course of that time on the first candle strategy? If you could ballpark it out of 10, how many times are you right, would you say?
Yeah, I think my tracker, I think I have it tracked. I think it's something like 70% win rate right now.
And isn't that great, guys? She doesn't even have to guess, right? That's how you know she's doing it right. She's like, no, Jeremy, I don't have to ballpark it. I track every trade, you dummy. Like, I know exactly what it is. So cool. Okay, so a 70% win rate. So 70% win rate on our strategy that with a 50% win rate will be profitable. Pretty
Mhm.
incredible. Few questions that come through. Yes, thinkorswim paper trading is effective. I like trading with smaller amounts of money just to get used to trading with money. And you actually trade during the first 5 minutes, not waiting for the first 5 minutes to end for that question. So kind of moving on with that, Zoe, with the understanding that you're trading the first 5 minutes essentially each day, you have a smaller account. What has, I guess, helped you from the mentorship side? Because people always ask, right? Like, I can learn this through YouTube videos. I can go, get a course content right now. I have a mentor. Like, with where you're at now, seeing the consistency you are, what is the biggest advantage that you've had having a mentor or someone to kind of analyze your trades on an individual level? What would you say the biggest benefit to that mentorship has been for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, I've taken so many courses for different things because I love having like mentorship and I love learning things. But yeah, the mastermind by far, just like being able to like receive feedback on trades, being able to actually like talk to you. It's like I'm talking to a celebrity. Like
Oh,
I need
dude,
like
definitely
having
not.
access to Jeremy, it's like it's really
Definitely not.
cool.
Anyone who
But yeah,
knows
just
me,
having
anyone who knows me is watching this right now and be like, "Oh, that just makes me sick."
Yeah.
That's
No,
funny.
but, like, having, like, that mentorship and just like, "Hey, like, I'm struggling with this. What did I see this wrong?" And even just, like, having Discord, like, there's people in the chat who will, like, share their, feedback on your trades for you and stuff. So that's honestly, like, the biggest thing is because like, you can, like, learn the strategies and you can, like, start to understand it and it can, like, make sense, but once you're actually, like, doing it, it's like there's so much more that you have to factor in that you can't learn just from like reading about it. Like you have to like actually experience it. And so I think being able to, one, have you review trades and two, like seeing it happen live and being able to talk about it live with you is like that honestly, I wouldn't I wouldn't give up, but I just would not be here so fast. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, and I think that's a great point, and I think that's what I always tell people with the mastermind, is just accelerates the rate at which
Mhm.
you'll get there, and it kinda gives you more of like a, "You will get there," because a lot of times if you're going through something on your own, like, you might
Mhm.
misinterpret things, you might not see the relevance of certain things when actually they're really important,
Right.
so it's gonna take longer and you may not even get there, where with mastermind or like a one-on-one mentorship, it's gonna be personalized for you and you're gonna get there quicker. I always compare it to
Mhm.
golf and how I'm like, "Look, guys, like, you get a swing coach out on the driving range with you for 5 weeks, he's gonna fix your problems, but if you YouTube how to
Mhm.
fix my golf swing, maybe you do, maybe you don't," right? It's just it's a
Yeah.
different level of doing that. Um,
Mhm.
Okay, so that's great. So a few other questions. We'll go kind of rapid fire here, and then for those listening, we're going to open it up here in just a second for you guys to ask Zoe questions. Few questions. So number one, when did you take the mastermind? Do you remember when it was?
It was last year sometime, I
Okay,
wanna say. Yeah.
so last year sometime. How long did it take you post mastermind to start seeing success on a consistent basis?
Let's see, I was actively trading for, I wanna say 6 or 7 months, which may seem
Okay,
like a long time for
no,
people,
that's
but it's not a
that's
long
that is
time to
like
me.
that's not it's not long, it's not short. That's like very typical, right? Those who
Yeah,
catch
and
on
I
really
and I
quick.
would kinda go into this with, like, this is a lifelong skill, and so I'm in no rush to get rich off this, you know what I
100%.
mean?
Well, for
Yeah.
me, it took me 3.5 years, so 6 months,
Yeah.
very speedy, right? Very, very speedy. 2 to 3 months is like you're getting it very fast. A year plus
Mhm.
means it's taking a little bit longer, but 6 months, that's very, very common.
Mhm.
Okay, and then how about stocks? Give me your 3 favorite stocks.
NVIDIA, AMD, Tesla. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm starting to
Um
get more into SPY, but
Awesome. So NVIDIA,
I'm
AMD,
yeah.
Tesla, that was a question people were asking. Yep, just the standard stocks that we like to play.
Mhm.
How has trading benefited you in your current situation, right? You say your husband's going to uh what
Yeah, he's doing a
program is he
PhD.
in?
Yeah.
PhD. Okay, so
Mhm.
how has trading from a financial standpoint helped. And again, we're not talking some of these other, members we've had on making $30,000, $40,000 a month plus.
Mhm.
You were able to double a small account, making, roughly 2,500 bucks,
Mhm.
with the month that we're highlighting here. What has that done? Has it been able to help in certain aspects? Have you not really noticed difference? Like, what has that done
Oh, yeah.
for your
Yeah,
situation?
it's been huge for our situation because, yeah, I mean, a PhD student, I don't know if you guys know, but PhD students don't make that much money, and so we've got 3 kids, we're in, like, kind of an expensive part of England, and so, honestly, any dollar I make is, like, huge, you know? And so
Cool.
it's been super helpful, yeah.
Awesome. No, that's great. And I think $2,500 a month that's beneficial and
Oh,
like
yeah.
meaningful to most people, right? Most people that
Mhm.
is like that's a huge difference as far as how much money you're able to bring in. Okay, a few
Mhm.
other questions, and then we'll open it up for questions for Zoe here. Um, what's your goal? What's your goal with this? Are you at a point where you're thinking, hey, I want to be able to, do this full time, at a point where, you feel like um your goals of position sizing up? Are you happy with where you're
Mhm.
at and just kind of staying in your groove? What's your goal with this?
Yeah, 100% I wanna do this full time. Yeah. I mean, I'm not in a rush because, that's kind of my next challenge is, starting to up my position size. And, just, like, from my experience of just starting out and seeing all the mistakes I made in the beginning, like, I know it's gonna be a process, and so I'm taking it slow and, I would love to make this, like, a full-time thing. But yeah, I really do view it as like this is a lifelong skill. I'm literally not in a rush, and I feel like that kind of takes the stress and the pressure away from it to just be like, yep, like this is going to come when it comes, and I'm going to, I'll continue to add to my position size as I get more confident. But yeah, definitely want to I want to make more money than you, Jeremy. That's what I want.
I would literally would love nothing more. I would love
Yeah.
nothing more than that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, so a few other questions coming through, and let's go ahead and open it up here, with questions that come through. If you have a question for Zoe, let's open it up. I'll read them off to you, Zoe, as they come through. Um, but as they're coming in, I just want to highlight how cool it is that she had the right mindset. Right, anyone who comes in and they're trying to make a quick buck, trying to pay next month's rent, trying to make enough money in a week to pay for something crazy. It just never works. But those who come in with a lifelong skill set mentality, they're the ones who succeed. Question that I'll answer: what is the difference between the Uncommon 2.0 and the Mastermind? 2.0 is recorded videos by myself walking through step by step how we do what we do. The Mastermind is a 5-week live mentorship over Zoom with me, you, and a group of individuals. We do them once a quarter. Again, difference between hiring a personal trainer at a gym and having, video program to watch at home on how to work out. So that's the difference there. Okay, a few other questions for you here, Zoe. What's the average amount of trades you take in a day with both first part of the day and last?
Like 1 or 2 usually. Very rarely I'll take a 3rd trade.
And why is that? Is that just something you've come up with,
Yeah.
or what?
No, I mean, that's something you teach, but, yeah, when I do first candle, it's usually a pretty big win, and so I don't wanna, like, mess with that, and so if I take a first candle trade, then I'll be done for the morning and then look at the charts later, like, maybe the last hour of the day, and just see if anything shows up. Sometimes there's nothing, and sometimes there's, like, a good wedge breakout or something, and
Yeah.
so, usually it's, like, 1 or 2 trades a day.
Cool. No, that's great. Exactly what we teach, right? That was a stupid question of me to ask you where you got it from, but yeah, we teach that, and it's
Yeah.
cool, right? It's less is more. If you
Mhm.
talk to any successful day trader, less trades is more. You're
No,
always better taking.
every time I have a losing day, I always have more than 3 trades,
Isn't
and
that
then I'm like,
funny?
"Yep, that's exactly why."
It is actually crazy how that works.
Mhm.
Okay. Other questions. Did you start off with a small account? So how much did you start off with in your account when you first started?
Oh, when I first started, I think I just put, like, $1,000 in, but I was only trading with, like, $100 per trade.
$100
So,
per trade.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Perfect.
was like, when I first started, it was, like, 1 or $200 a trade is what my position size was.
Okay. That's great. That's
Yeah.
a very small amount. Good to know. Other questions. What's the key thing you look for in the first candle? So one thing that has helped you with first candle. Try to keep it short and sweet here.
Yeah, I just look for a really obvious setup. I look for a really obvious trend in either direction, and I like it when price is nearing a resistance level.
Mhm.
I feel like that's just really obvious to me to know what way it's gonna go. If it's not obvious, I just don't do it.
Did you trade today, Zoe?
I did, yeah, I did. I was looking at NVIDIA, but I actually did Tesla.
And did you make any money?
I did a 22% win.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Way
Yeah.
to go. Okay, a few other questions we'll go through quickly here. What's the main hurdle that you needed to overcome personally when you're actively in a trade? So, like, what has helped you more than anything else win in a trade that maybe you struggled with in the beginning?
I think something that I have to like constantly remind myself is that there's so many opportunities to make money in the market, and there will always be another trade. And so that really helps me to like kind of like detach emotionally from whatever trade that I'm in, where it's like, oh, like it has to be a winner, like I have to win. It's like, no, I actually don't. Like, it's okay if it loses. And so I don't know. I just feel like having that mindset of like, yeah, like there will be another trade on another day and it will be fine. Like you can have like a small losing trade. And so that kind of helps me like detach emotionally and just be like, okay, then I'll just stick to my stop loss and take profit and then I'll
Cool.
go from there.
Heck
So,
yeah. I love it. That's awesome.
yeah.
What time are the live classes on Mastermind? They're in the morning, 6:15 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for the first 2 weeks, 6:45 a.m. Mountain Standard Time the next 3 weeks. Side note, we always do a fourth week there, so it's actually 6 weeks, bonus week we always do, which is cool. Someone asked, "Do you have any struggles or bad habits in the beginning?" She touched on and talked about the over trading and revenge trading,
Mhm.
right? Which is very, very common. And
Mhm.
so I think that's something there. A few other questions have been rolling through. Do you ever trade from recognizing candle patterns or only strategies? Meaning, if you see, we teach 6 primary candlestick patterns that we look for here. Do you ever take a
Mhm.
trade just based on some type of candlestick pattern, or do you only trade the strategies?
Yeah, no, I only trade the strategies. So, and that's what we teach what is taught in at UET is that like a candlestick confirmation is just part of the strategy. And so, yeah, same with anything. It's like I don't just look at volume or I don't just look at the EMAs, like I'm looking at all the indicators together.
Perfect. And that's a great answer and what I would recommend as well. As a complete beginner, should I start out doing a boot camp or go straight into the mastermind? As someone who kind of did both, Zoe, monthly plus mastermind, for someone who just asked that, what would you recommend? And I'll kind of add in a few other questions with that. Do you have to have any experience with trading prior to the mastermind?
Mhm.
So again, for anyone who's like kind of on the fence of wanting to do one or the other, what would you recommend? Would you recommend starting out small? Would you recommend that mastermind later? Do you think it's beginner friendly? Just quickly kind of tell us your thoughts there.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like it kind of depends on your goals, right? Like if you know that this is what you want to do and you want to do this full time, like just go straight to the mastermind because you will learn everything that you need to learn that you would learn in the video course in the mastermind as well, but it would be like it's live and you get the mentorship. But if it's something where you're like, "Oh, I'm interested in this. I think this might be good," but you don't know if it's for you or not, then I would just invest in like the smaller course just to kind of get the introduction to it. But yeah, I mean, complete beginners, like I said, like I knew nothing about trading. I knew nothing about the stock market. Like I joke and tell people like if Jeremy can teach me how to trade, he could teach a fish how to trade. Like literally it's for complete beginners. So, but yeah, it's up to your goals, you know, like if you're like serious about it, you want to master it, the fastest way to get there is with the mastermind, but if you're just kind of like shopping around, you know, then start with like a beginner course.
Yeah. And I think what's cool about that and why we're like, if you ever talk to me or any of our sales reps on the phone with like our mastermind, if you go through the application process, we're so chill. We're like, yeah, if you want to do it, we'd love to have you. But if you don't want to, that's cool too. Like we don't really care because at
Yeah.
the end of the day is we know it works. And we also know that most people are going to want to, invest properly at the right point or at the right time at some point anyway, because
Mhm.
whether you spend the money learning it the right way, whether that is one of the smaller courses of the mastermind, or you go into the market like I did with no training and lose all that money anyway and still don't know what
Mhm.
you're doing. It's like I always tell people, like, look, you're always better off learning and getting the fundamentals down before you start. And
Yeah.
so I'll add to that is that the mastermind is extremely beginner friendly. It
Oh,
starts by
yeah.
walking you through how to set up your account, right? It is
Mhm.
unbelievably simple and starting from square one. So yeah, depending on your goals, I love that answer. Does your strategy work on Forex? Yep. Any currency, crypto, Forex, futures, stock equity, stock options, our strategies work. It's really, really cool. It's just reading charts. It's what we call market truths. One plus one will always equal two. Well, when these three or four things occur with some level of certainty, the stock will always go in this direction or in that direction. Other questions I'll go through quickly here as we have a few more. Do you use a stop loss? Yes. And depending on every strategy we teach, stop losses are in place. I don't even need to ask you, Zoe, do you have a stop loss when you trade?
Of course, yeah.
Of course. Always, always, always. Is your typical position size 1 to 2% of your account balance? No. Typical position size is 10% of your account balance, but we are only risking 10 to 15% of that 10%, which is essentially 1 to 2% of your account balance. So that's that. Other questions? I'm using the UC 2.0 as well. Are you able to access the Discord? Yes, Discord is available to any of our programs. This is what I want to do. So mastermind it is. Yeah, I think it's great. I think the mastermind's a fantastic option. And I always tell people, if you want to learn how to do what I do, which is trade full time, and again, all these people we bring on these Instagram lives who are now just murdering the market. I'm not going to tell you who. You can take a guess. One of our previous one of our previous Instagram live that we've done, okay, in the last year, sent me a text this morning. They made $11,000 in the market today, trading our strategies. Pretty remarkable. I'm not going to point out who, but pretty special. And a separate, different person who was on these lives with us also this last year texted me. Well, he actually called me. He was so excited. About a week ago, just closed a $40,000 month. So again, it's not just a couple people. Like we have so many examples of people succeeding who have gone through the mastermind program. So I think that's a great option there. As someone who works during the day, how would that work with the mastermind? I mean, the mastermind's just in the morning, right? It's that first 45 minutes before the market even opens. We also record every session so you can go back and review it. And what's cool is you all get my personal cell phone number. I get so many spam calls. So if you're on this call and you were a mastermind member and you've been selling my phone number, shame on you, because I am getting lit up by every like scam there is. And I'm like, how in the world is my phone number out there? I'm going to continue to do it. You get access to me. So that's pretty cool as well. I was in the last mastermind, so worth it. Awesome. Okay, let's see. I've been trading for 7 months on my own, and yeah, it was a bad choice. Down 10K from over trading, even with some idea of strategy. So honestly, I appreciate Trevor. I don't even know who that is commenting that, because that's very, very normal, right? And again, that 10K had you invested, and that's not even how much our mastermind costs. But if you invest, money into the mastermind plus having money to trade with, you more than likely would have avoided all of those mistakes. And the reason I know that is because that's what I did. 3.5 years and a lot of money, right? A lot of money lost, tens of thousands of dollars lost over those 3.5 years before I started to say, okay, Jeremy, you need to figure it out. Another question: are you still using Thinkorswim overseas?
Yes. Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
So as long as you have access to it, you can use it anywhere. The only place in the world you cannot
Mhm.
is Cuba. I was in Cuba, tried to open it up. They've got, big no-nos with US. So that's what that is.
Good to know.
Do you offer a course? It's kind of hard to do a mastermind since I'm always on the road for work. Yes. So our course, and we're actually going to be rolling out for Black Friday, hopefully today, a bunch of new offerings that we're going to do here at UAT, which I'm super excited for. So just hang tight there, or maybe if Carol's on this, or Alan, they can reach out to you as well. If a person like myself don't have access to a laptop or computer, can they still trade and make money using your strategies? Basically, all I'm using is my cell phone. I'll take that one, Zoe. Yes, you can. Trading from your phone is inherently going to be more difficult because it's smaller and you have to click a few more buttons. But I have friends who I go fly fishing with around the world, and they almost exclusively trade from their phone. I execute trades sometimes from my phone, totally doable. You can do you can't have the same chart setups with active trader on your phone. So to trade exactly how you see on all the lives and things that we do, that has to be from at least a laptop, but you can trade from your phone. Absolutely. Let's see. Any other questions? How to use Think or Swim? So you have to have a US like uh either social security number or green card number, and then wherever you travel to, you can still use it. But yeah, if you're not a US citizen or have a green card, basically a social security number or personal identification number, then you use interactive brokers, which is what we teach here at UET. Okay, guys. So that's unless there's any other questions that come through here, I just want to conclude here with Zoe by giving her the floor for just a few minutes. Um, anyone who is trading right now, Zoe, and if you're listening, this is the golden nuggets. This is what you're going to want to hear. For anyone who's trading right now and um, struggling to find consistency, struggling to do, just the bare essentials, or feeling like they're getting stuck. What would you say to traders who are struggling to find consistency right now? And then two, if anyone is on the fence or maybe doesn't even know what trading is, or like if they have interest in joining UET or learning how to day
Mhm.
trade, second question would be, what would you say to those who are wanting to learn how to day trade? So those two
Yeah.
questions. Let's ask that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think if you're struggling, one thing is just to remember, like, literally every trader has been there. And I honestly, my journey would just go up and down where it's like, okay, I'm doing really good. And then it's like, why am I making all these dumb mistakes? And so, first thing is just recognizing it's just kind of part of like the learning curve of it all. And also like you're not gonna fail unless you give up. And so I just started looking at my losses and like my losing streaks as like lessons that I needed to learn instead of like, oh, I'm a failure. And
Yeah.
so that's a huge thing, is just like just keep going and like keep sticking with it. But like if you're like so anxious, like you're losing money, like switch to paper trading for a while, or just like move to a really small account size until you're not making those mistakes anymore, and then just slowly build up after that, because that's always something where it's like, okay, I'm like making all these mistakes, what's happening? It's like you have to take a step back and you have to kind of just like take a breath and like really, this is a lifelong skill, and if you stick with it, like you will have a skill that will make you money for the rest of your life. So you can take a week off, you can take a break, you can just trade with paper money right now. That's what I would say for that. And then yeah, just track your trades for sure. Track them and see like what exactly are you doing, because maybe you don't even realize that you're taking 6 trades a day, or maybe you don't even realize that
Mhm.
you're jumping right back into trades unless you're actually writing it down. So write it down and let the data show you what mistakes you're making. So I would say that. And then for those who are on the fence, yeah, I mean, if this is something you want to do, like you kind of just have to start somewhere. If you're a complete beginner like I was, like I knew nothing, and I, yeah, I think if it's something that you're interested in, anyone can learn this, but just be aware that there's a learning curve and it's something that you have to commit to and take seriously. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents there.
Awesome. And I think what's so great about Zoe, you guys, is she's so relatable to so many people out there, right? I personally believe that female traders have such a better disposition to be traders than males, right? Because to be successful at day trading, you can't have an ego. You have to be a little more disciplined. You have to be organized, right? And all the dudes listening to this call right now, they're like, "Yep, I'm not good at any of those things." Like, it's just the truth. So if you are a female aspiring trader listening to this, we want you here at UET because this is where we can really help, cultivate that desire to get there. We have so many female traders who are succeeding,
Hmm.
Zoe being one of them. The other thing to keep in mind about Zoe is, again, she is juggling full-time motherhood, right? We're talking how old's your oldest?
My oldest is 6 and my youngest is like almost 2.
Okay,
Yeah,
so she's got 3 kids
right in the thick of it.
between 2 and 6, which is, if you've never had kids, that is in the thick of it. Exactly, that's the best way to
Mhm.
describe it, in the thick of it. And she's overseas, right? So she's in a totally new environment. Her husband is gone, I'm sure, a lot, right? With
Mhm.
doing his PhD. And so it's not like she just has all this free time to do this, right? And I think that is one of my favorite relatable pieces of Zoe's story, guys, is that she is someone who is choosing to make it work, right? You have two choices in life. You either make an excuse or you make it work, right? That's literally it. Are you going to make an excuse
Mhm.
of why you can't do it, or are you going to make a way to make it work, or are you just going to make it
Mhm.
work, right? And so kudos to you. I don't know what else to say other than congratulations on your success. As someone who, again, also sees what it takes to be a good mother and to be able to do those things. And again, my kid's mom, she's fantastic. But gall, there's so much that goes into it. So huge compliment and congratulations to you on
Thank
learning
you.
it in your current state. Huge credit and kudos to you on being disciplined enough to, take the strategies as they come and have that long-term mindset. Not a lot of people
Mhm.
have that. And kudos to you for willing to take that leap and invest in yourself, right? Like
Mhm.
people like your husband, right? Going to school to get a PhD will result in knowledge that will allow him to do the things that he wants to do. If you want to
Mhm.
be a day trader, guys, guess what? You have to learn how to day trade. Like that's how
Yeah.
it works, right? And so here at UET,
Yeah.
that's what we're all about. We want you guys to find success. We want to help you on your journey. I feel like we've done a pretty good job of teaching in a way that's accessible to everyone and anyone, regardless of skill level, regardless of location, regardless of if you have any previous experience. And again, I think Zoe is just such a great example of that. So, any other thoughts or last points you wanted to hit on, Zoe?
Yeah, I think just one last thing I wanna say is just, like, the cool thing about this is, like, so many people look at day trading as, like, this risky scam, like, that's just, like, what people think of, and
I think
I
it's a
just, like
scam.
like, they just think it's a
I know.
scam, or like, "What
I'm
is" you know what
joking.
I
Yes, I
mean?
know.
You've heard it.
Of course, of course.
And I think what's really cool is just to note that, like, the strategies really work, like, it is a real legitimate way to make a living and to, like, earn money, but, like, the skill is no joke. Like, it's not just something that you're gonna, like, understand right away, like, I feel like I'm living proof of that, like, I've gone through a lot of, like, challenges to learn how to get there, and honestly, every trader does. Every trader has to go through the learning curves, but like it's not a scam, like it's a real thing. You know what I mean? And so it's really just a matter of like, okay, are you committed? Like, are you committed to, are you willing to like go through all of those challenges and like all those learning curves to learn the skill that really does work? So yeah, that would just be my last thought.
I appreciate that, and it's so true, guys. Like, it'd be like someone learning how to read music and telling them it's a scam. Like, that's how stupid people are in my eyes who think day trading is a scam. It's like, okay, so math is a scam then, and reading music's a scam, and
Uh-oh.
science is a scam. It's like, it's data. Like, it's not like we're trading off of, like, a magic 8 ball, like, should we enter calls or puts? It's like, no, we're entering based off of
Shoot, I
factual
lost the
data,
audio. I can't hear
right?
you.
And strategies. So, you can't hear me? Let's see. Well, if you can or can't, we're gonna wrap up. But again, at the end of the day, guys, it's real.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Someone tried to call me while you were talking, and then now I can't hear anything. So
That's okay.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
But
No
thanks for
problem.
having me on, Jeremy.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. With that being said, um, if you have questions, shoot us a DM. You can DM us at Uncommon Education Trading and tell us you're interested. You can apply for our mastermind program. You can message me on my personal Instagram, Jeremy Lieber. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have there. And again, I know Zoe probably can't hear me, but a big thanks from me. If you guys can let her
I'm
know in the
sorry, I
chat,
can't hear
thank you
anything.
for yeah, if you could let her know, thank you for being here, guys. Sorry for that audio issue at the end here, but hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for being here, Zoe. And again, if you're in our group, can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Live trading for our mastermind members. If you have interest, go ahead and message us. Otherwise, we will plan on hopefully doing another one of these live soon. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.